So your total experience?
Total experience was 1 year.
Okay. So have you worked on any big data related projects before?
Like I worked in 2 projects up to now. The first one with the PySpark and the second one with HDFS things.
Which one?
HDFS stuff like Hive and sort of
Okay.
things.
Okay. How good are you in Python and big data? How would you rate yourself in these two?
Big data out of 5 I can give it as 3.5. Python I could give 4.5.
Okay. Okay. Great. So you are well versed in Python then.
Exactly.
Okay. Great.
Like big data is still a lot of stuff.
Yeah. What are all the libraries that you have used in Python or worked with in Python?
Explicitly saying pandas.
Okay.
There's still this NumPy and some graph-related ones. The graph-related ones are not much, but there's MATLAB things.
In Python, right? So let us say we have we need to check whether a directory is existing or not. So or we want to put some file in a new directory. So we want to know if there is a directory already. If that directory is already present, we'll have to remove it, and we'll have to recreate the entire directory, as in recursively. If there is a folder A in folder B and in folder C, so if that is a chain, that is a parent folder structure, we'll have to create it recursively. So how would you do that?
Okay. So first I'll be going and checking whether the folder is existing or not.
It would be better if you let me know like how the code, as it which library will you use or what code will you type in?
OS library.
Okay.
I'll go with OS library and I'll just check whether the directories are present with a simple directory command, which is available in Python. List of directories is present down. List directory. So I'll check whether the list of directories is given and already there or not. If those directories were not there, I'll ask you to create. The same with OS directory.
Okay. And and you might have used these sets, tuples, lists, dictionaries, all these things, right?
Tuples, yes. Dictionary is not up to a large extent. Very light. We use the data frame slot.
Okay, in Pandas data frames.
Correct.
Okay. What would you say, like, difference between a Pandas data frame and a Spark data frame?
Okay.
Or more, to be more specific, like, when will you use each of these?
No, I'm not getting into that idea.
No problem. And so in Python, like, do you know what are decorators, generators?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you please let me know what are these?
Decorators are something like functions, like what we do generally, but some special forms. Explaining, I think, a bit tough now. Sorry for that.
A small example, a scenario where would you use decorator?
Function calling, a better way to function calls. Example, could be some recursive functions. To use where the recursive functions were going to come, it is better to go with these decorator things.
Okay. What about generators?
I think I need to go through one.
And so how good are you with SQL?
SQL is very fine. I'm okay with it. I can rate it for about 4.
Oh, great. So a typical question, like, so if there is an employee table, employee ID, employee name, and manager ID. Okay. If you are employee one, your record will be employee ID would be 1, name would be, and manager ID would be 3. Okay. And correspondingly, there will be another entry for your manager. 3 is his employee ID, his name, and his manager ID.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So if you want to print out and his manager name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go with the foreign key which is associated there. I'll just equate the foreign keys and I'll print the name.
No. There is only one table here.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'll go with self-join.
Good. Yeah. And if you want to print out something called a derived variable, derived column called level in the hierarchy. So if you are the fresher, your level would be 0 or 1, and if your manager would be next to your level, his level would be 2, and his managers would be 3. So something like this. So how would you go about writing a query for this?
So I need to calculate the level of the things, correct?
Yeah. Every employee.
So what would be my parameter? Any base parameter would be there, like salary or experience. So how would it be? On what basis should I calculate the level of it?
If an employer doesn't have a manager, his level is the maximum. And okay, let us say the other way. If the employee is a CEO and he doesn't have a manager, then his level would be the top level, which is 1, and the next level would be 2, and the next level would be 3, and the last level, a fresher's level would be, let us say, 10.
Okay, it is like traversing back.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, anyway, like either in the ascending or descending.
Okay, so I should count. Counting would be my factor now. Okay, I'll go with the manager column. Where I'll select his manager.
Mm-hmm.
If manager is present, then I would make it as 1, and consequently in the same way, where I would go search for his manager for every time, repeatedly. If I found till then, I'll rate him. Like I'll give his number as how many number of things I found for him. I'll providing that number. I can simply say count.
Count would not work here. It's okay, fine. So coming to HDFS and Hadoop. So in Hadoop, right, HDFS, what is the default block size, and why is it so? Why is it that way?
It will be generally 128 MB.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So why do you think it is 128 and not or lesser or not more? Why not it is like 1 GB, or why not it is 4 KB or 8 KB?
Okay. It can be like whatever size we want, but 128 MB, why we are keeping it as like best practice of making it, because size of file, this chunks division is always better when you take it. When large huge files, when you take it up like 1 GB, and when you try to load it, if it breaks at some point of time, you need to come back loading this 1 GB again, so which is useless. So when you make it into block size of 128 MB or lesser than that, so it would be feasible when something stops or after 128 MB, you can start from there. So irrespective of going of all the resources down again, you can start from some 129 MB and breakage of it from there. So this handling would be easier.
Okay, so if you keep it like 1 MB also, the breakage would be easier. Like whatever you said, from 1 MB we can have one block, and the second MB from 1025 KB we can have the second block start.
But wastage of space happens when you keep very, not wastage of space. I mean, a lot of resources required again back to do that. So instead of going very low, it is better to keep it in intermediate form. So which would be like 64 MB and the 128 MB, which would be the better suggestive ways.
Yeah, I mean, there is a reason why it is suggested.
Okay, maybe I don't know it.
Okay, so the specific reasons are like if you go for a lower block size like 8 KB or 10 KB, for any given file, the number of blocks will be more, and that would put more, would have more footprint on the name node, right? The name node stores the metadata, right? That storage in name node would be more. And why not more, like in GBs, is that it is because of the disk seek IO operations. So if it is more, disk seek would take more time for one particular block, and if we are trying to access multiple blocks at a time, there will be like the latency would increase, and which is why it is not too high. The block size should not be too high. And so similarly, like you have worked in Spark, right? You submit a job, and what happens in the background? How does Spark take that job up?
I think I remember it.
Yeah, basically the Spark architecture, how a job.
DAG is followed. That is cyclic graph one. So I'm taking from the root where it is taken.
Okay.
So what it will do is it will create some logical plan behind it, like something like this DAG graph. Not clearly remembering.
If the job will be divided into stages and stages will be divided into tasks, when does division of stage happens, or what are the number of tasks that will be created?
No idea.
Okay, fine. So, you have worked in PySpark. So, what did you use PySpark for? Like, how was PySpark used in your project?
Okay, we used it to conversion from Teradata to the general language, the SQL form. The language was written in Teradata form. So from that Teradata we converted into this general SQL form by using PySpark. We written scripts for converting them from Teradata.
Yeah, I'm not quite familiar with what you are saying, but yeah. So what about the operations that you have used in that? Like how would you start how would your PySpark script look like?
Actually, there was an tool which we are using, Palantir. What it will do is it will internally submit the Spark jobs where it is taken internally. What we generally do is we generally configure things like what is the memory required and how much space is required. We generally do this and write our code efficiently in order to make it pass through those norms, like particular criteria of data should be taken, and those kind of stuff.
Okay, which data to take for which job, and what is the memory allocation for that job?
Correct. Memory allocation of the job. These norms will be provided by the client, and it cannot exceed for so many reasons because the size of memory was already fixed. So this size of memory cannot take more than this kind of memory for usage in Spark. So these norms were fixed, and we used to write those code efficiently and make it happen.
Okay, so did you work on Hive, like creating Hive tables? So what are all the different Hive tables you have used, and what are all the file formats you have worked on? Like, is it an internal table or an external table?
Sorry, voice is like again low.
Yeah, is it internal table or external table? What are the
we did it internally.
Why, may I know, like, what is the difference between internal table and external table, and why you have chosen to go for internal table?
It is in customer requirement. What they asked for internal table.
Okay. So do you know that there are like two different tables, like Hive internal and external table?
Yes.
What is the difference between these two?
The overriding option will not be there, I guess. Partially remembering from my. Not exactly sure. I think the only main difference is we cannot like the schema and things will get continuously present on external table, but on internal table I think we can override those. But on external table I think we can't do it.
No. So what do you know about Hive? Like, how does Hive, if you submit a query into Hive, what happens in the background, like the Hive architecture?
I think I need to go through the basics again.
That's fine. So do you know, like, partitions and why are partitions used, why are buckets used? Hive.
I know about partitions, but buckets is we did not go by use.
Let me know, like, what do you know about partitions?
Generally, what partitioning means it is dividing into some tables, like based on either date or some fields. But based on some field, we'll do partitioning. This partitioning is done since it is a better way to access. Quicker we can go with accessing parts. So partitioning is done for this reason.
An example, a use case, small use case. Okay, it's fine. So the actual data is stored in HDFS, and where does the schema stored in for a Hive table?
Don't remember such. I think it is stored in some metadata store where this high-level information is being captured.
Okay. It is called Hive Meta Store. And did you work on optimizing? I mean, let us talk about. You have a SQL query. Let us say, how do you optimize it? What are the things to do and what are the things not to do?
Okay, so I would go with better kind of usage of joins instead of going with complete these inner joins, and it will take a lot of time, right? So this so specific usage of joins at specific time of thing that would made my something instead of going. See, there is a lot of things like cross join and all. So where data gets huge, and a time taken for this cross join is also going to become huge. So at the time where cross join need to be implemented mandatorily, I will go with some other like left outer and right outer joins, which would be better.
Okay, when you say cross join, what do you mean? So if you say we have a table A and table B with 3 columns each, so what would be the result of a cross join? How many records would a cross join result in?
So in this join specifically, it would be better like efficiency we can increase in terms of these joins only. This is the only biggest criteria we do generally in SQL, making joins efficient and making it perform quicker.
Okay. What would be your best role that you have played in till now in any projects you have worked in?
See, in the very first project where the PySpark one, the UL one, because of knowing of Python a bit, it became easier for going with PySpark as well.
Mm-hmm.
So as a developer, so not with the hands-off basics which I had, not only that, but when I was going through the project and making stuff delivered on time. So
no, I mean not in such a generic way. I would want to know in a specific way. Let us say you had some task at hand. So this is what we are doing, and this is my role, and I did my best, and this is the way I have improved the code. This is the way I have delivered the use case. So I would like to know the use case, the project flow. So let us say if there is something like there is a file that is present in client's location, we have to fetch the data and put it in Hive tables. So something like this, the practical use case. What have you worked on the best?
Okay, there is one Teradata SQL where there is an SQL data given, like the queries given. So we need that to convert into the I said you right, like the Python PySpark code and executions to happen. So there is a file coming from the vendor, which is like huge data. It would be like around 200 GB. There is one particular pattern they're following for giving those 200 GB of data. There are similar kind of Teradata SQLs. There are 10 different scripts which they wanted to convert from Teradata to the present PySpark one. So 10 different scripts, by looking at internally, they seems to have a pattern.
Okay.
So this pattern, I identified this pattern in the team, and what I did is I generally made, instead of going and picking up of every file and converting it into the PySpark code, I just written one PySpark code where all these 10 patterns which will follow, right? So these 10 patterns would be this follow only one single command, like only one single transmission thing. So instead of going for 10 different scripts, only one different script I written where it will take the data and compared to which pattern it goes. So based on those pattern, it will pick up the data and it will transform the data of what transformation they are given in Teradata. In the same way, they'll transform the data. And I said you that size, right, which is going to be 200 GB huge. So this 200 GB data is not getting directly loaded. So what we need to do is we need to make this data into like chunks, which would be a better way to put it into the final layer, the table. So for putting into this table, we break down that into chunks, and these chunks in order to make more fast movement, what we did is we individually ran 3 different modules for putting this code into the table. Why only 3 in sense? Because 3 modules are the best, fastest way we can do there, because 200 GB file, 3 modules is enough for what we thought.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 modules.
You mentioned that you have made instead of 10 different Teradata scripts, you have used one PySpark script. So what does the PySpark script do?
Okay. Generally, for basic understanding, we generally convert this Teradata script into PySpark script. So this is the pattern we are following, like conversion one script into.
So what does that PySpark script do? Like beyond
transformation, some basic transformations on the data. So they're asking for particular. Some joins. They'll be providing you 3 or 4 different tables in the same script, in the same Teradata script. Okay. Where, but the output is only one single table. At the end, they want it. So the transformation from 2, 3, it is like I don't remember exactly what transformations was there on that day. But there was huge, but there are huge transformations was taking place.
Okay, it's fine. So shell script?
Not specifically, but general things I know.
Yeah. So name a few, like what you have used.
Shell scripts commander. So for loop, general for once, iterating through the one you asked before, a directory iteration.
Okay.
The same thing, those kind of things.
Like how do you
mode changing commands, ch mode.
Mm-hmm. So how do you like command for creating a directory? What is it?
Make directory mkdir -mkdir.
Okay. What is pipe used for in shell scripting?
Concatenation.
Pipe
Pipe concatenating.
Okay.